welcome to Season 14 of Fantasy Football Live right here on Yahoo Sports. Over the next 90 minutes, we'll help you set those lineups before the rest of Week 1 kicks off. I'm your host, Amanda Borges, and joining me on our brand new Sunnyvale set are just a couple of our experts, Brad Evans and Andy Behrens. Good morning, guys.
I mean, the budget came straight from your salary, so, I mean, this is totally worth it. Man, is it swanky.
It
I'm
is.
sick of paying for everything around
It
here.
is. I'm sorry you guys are so far away from me, but I'm going to keep my distance.
Probably for good reason, yeah.
Well, two more of our experts are holding it down in Los Angeles this year. That's Liz Loza and Matt Harmon. They'll also be handling all the buzz on social media for us. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Amanda. Look at us already in sync.
Absolutely.
Bodes well.
But yeah, this is a good sign for the rest of the show.
I mean, can only go up from here, right?
Well, we also have to introduce our final expert of the crew. That is former Tennessee Titan Tank Williams, who is live in Cleveland amongst the dog pound. His former team plays the Browns today. Tank, good morning. What's it like out there?
Yeah! What's up, Mandy B? And crew, what's going on? We down here in the pit, Cleveland's Titans. And it's already live out here. And I tell you what, like all the talk this weekend has been Antonio Brown is crazier than a road lizard. But now this dude is in New England about to win a ring. And I'm about to risk it all for FFL. Come on over here, bro.
Oh, Lord. Going in the Lions' den.
there
Oh,
it is.
does he still fit the jersey? That's the question.
Yeah! I'm already hearing the boos. This is the first time in my life I wish I was deaf so I can hear the boos. I love it. So now listen, as you can see, the Cleveland Browns fans are all jacked up on Pizza Hut. But I tell you, I sent some bubble guts in the air. Because the Browns fans are geeked up.
Go Browns! Go Browns! Go Browns!
Hey, I don't know if this city's been this live since LeBron brought the finals back, but I tell you what, if Baker Mayfield can be the hero that Cleveland needs with OBJ, Juice Landry, Nick Chubb, Njoku, then he may be able to do something. We'll get to that later. But if he can do that, then Baker Mayfield will be able to do something that we haven't witnessed in a long time. The greatest comeback in NFL history. The return of the dog pound. But we're going to see. We got a lot to see.
I honestly have
And
no
I woke up
words.
this morning feeling scared. Back to y'all.
I love the sneaky selfie that guy got.
Yeah,
that was well
absolutely.
played there.
I yield the rest of my time to Tank.
Yeah, let's
too good.
Let's go to
take
Tank
the
the
rest
entire
of it.
show.
Is anyone else nervous for him? I'm a little...
No, not all. Tank is
They're
a swole
aggressive.
man.
I
He's
feel
a
like
swole
Tank
man.
can hold his own.
Okay. All right. Well, last but certainly not least is the newest member of our Fantasy Football Live crew. He is the man responsible for all the music for this program. That is our resident DJ, Bebop Rock Steady.
Good morning. It feels good to be here. In the wise words of the great Amanda Borges, we out here.
Oh boy, we are 2 minutes in, and we've already mentioned Antonio Brown, and he's already dropped a "we out here." So I'm very excited. All right. Well, the active lists are starting to trickle down, so let's take a look at the names that are active and inactive today. Stephon Diggs is active. He's been dealing with a hamstring injury this week. Adrian Peterson is inactive for Washington, not due to injury, so expect a lot of Darius Dice. Robbie Anderson is active. The Jets wideout is dealing with a calf injury. And finally, Mike Evans did not practice Friday due to an illness, but the Buck is active against the Niners.
Interesting notes there, particularly Adrian Peterson. So Peterson reportedly not too happy. The fact that he was a healthy scratch, so this could end in maybe a divorce.
And
I don't know.
And his teammates reportedly not too happy about it either.
No, but Darius, guys, I'm getting a ton of questions on my Twitter feed right now about him. I am very reluctant to put him in my lineup simply because of the matchup. Philadelphia Eagles have one of the most formidable front lines in the NFL. Even if you got 15 to 20 touches, it could be a whole lot of 2 yards in a cloud of dust operating behind a disheveled offensive line.
Remember, no Trent Williams there.
Yep.
I would take a wait and see, especially in a non-bye week, right? There's no reason to roll out Darius, guys. I would bench him.
Can Art Monk come out of retirement and catch balls? They need all the help they can get in that offense.
About it.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, Matt and Liz will be keeping a close tab on all our social channels to review your roster questions or just get your thoughts on what's buzzing. So we'll kick it on down to them and see what they've got for us. Guys?
Yeah, first question we have up from our friend Otis the Hound.
Well done.
Well, I'm starting off week 1 hot reading these
Did you take
Twitter
any
handles.
preseason snaps yourself?
No, I am Mitch Trubisky out here right now with these Twitter handles.
Ouch.
What a rough situation. But start 1 PPR flex, James White, Josh Gordon, Tevin Coleman, or Latavius Murray. That's a lot of options, but Liz, I think we're actually on the same page with this.
Yeah, I understand the appeal of James White because it is a PPR league, but give me Josh Gordon. This Sunday night game featuring the Steelers and the New England Patriots has the 3rd highest projected point total per Vegas of this week's slate of games. So I think Flash Gordon gets lucky in the end zone. What about you?
Not to mention, every week from now on, you're going to have to be dealing with Antonio Brown or Josh Gordon. Who's got the better matchup? This is your week to do it. You've got Josh Gordon. This is your week to start him without any concern. So go ahead and make the best of it now. All right, let's move on to the next one with Neil here. Much easier than Mr. Otis. We've got Matt Ryan or Phillip Rivers. This, I think, is actually a tough call. I'm personally going to go Matt Ryan. I think there's a lot of ways that this game...
You like that dome play, huh?
I do like the dome play. Look, and there's a lot of ways that this game could go. I think the Vikings defense could show up and really ball out, or this could be a high-scoring game between 2 teams with a lot of talented pass catchers. I'm going to chase the shootout here.
All right, well, I like that you're chasing the upside. My only concern is that when we looked at how the Falcons started last year, they were rusty. That seems to be a trend if you watch the Thursday night game. I'm going to go with Phillip Rivers. No Melvin Gordon in the lineup, so we don't know how much he's going to rely on the run. I like Mike Williams in this matchup, and so I think the safer play is Phillip Rivers, so I would start him.
Yeah, and so we're on a different page there. Good luck with your lineup there, Neil. And last question that we have right now is from Teddy. Hashtag AskFFL, James White or Derrick Henry as my RB2 for week 1. We don't know whether this is PPR or not. I was having a conversation this morning with a friend about Derrick Henry. It's a tough spot, but I think in this situation, I'm going to chase a touchdown upside with Derrick Henry. I think this
exact same page.
All right, well, there we go. I think this game's going to be a little closer than people think. I don't think the Browns are going to come right out and barnstorm the Tennessee Titans.
I think you have to chase the touchdown upside with a running back, so it's nice to know we're back on the same page again. Harmonious all over again.
Beautiful. And remember, if you use hashtag AskFFL, your tweets will appear behind us here on the wall, which who wouldn't want that? Your tweets on live internet.
I mean, you're
TV.
almost famous. Like, you're basically famous.
You're famous adjacent. All right, everyone.
Take
back
a
to Sunnydale.
screenshot, put it on your IG.
Back to you.
Thank you, guys. It's time now for our Pizza Hut predictions. Our fantasy experts will take a look at some quarterbacks and rate their comfort level in playing each on a 1 to 8 slice scale. Fellas, who we got this week?
I'm hungry. Let's dish out some slices from the hut here, and let's start off with quarterback matchups here, Barons. And first up, we got Russell Wilson going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the Seahawks are heavy favorites in this game by 9.5 in some locales, but Cincinnati, at the strength of this defense, could be in the secondary. How many slices are we going?
This better be 5 or 6, or I'm going to be a little fire. That's...
Oh!
Come on!
It's a snack.
Come on, we got to at least stuff crust that.
3
listen,
slices.
This is a really fair matchup for Russell Wilson. Cincinnati, the most generous pass defense in terms of yards allowed last year, over 30 passing touchdowns allowed. I get that Seattle's going to be a run-heavy offense, but Russell Wilson is going to be a little part of that too. They're going to race out to a lead in this game, and there's a pretty good chance that's going to involve Tyler Lockett. I like him for 5, 6, maybe 7 slices here.
No, I think the 3-slice matchup is appropriate. I think it's like 229, maybe 230, a couple of touchdowns. It's the rushing yards for Russell Wilson. Remember, he didn't find the end zone with his legs uncharacteristically last year, so we'll see if he can right the ship in that category, but I think it's going to be a heavy dose of Chris Carson and maybe Rashad Penny late. How about the Dak attack going up against the G-Men? Let's see. 7 slices, fool! And understandably so. Remember the last time against the Giants? What did he do?
387 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's a pretty good day. Had a great 2 games against the Giants last season. He's an obvious start this week.
Well, Janoris Jenkins in that defensive backfield gave up a 109.3 passer rating to his assignments, and DeAndre Baker is the rookie. I know Amari Cooper didn't see a single snap of action in the preseason, but I think it's going to be a lot of Dak to Michael Gallup in this game.
Michael Gallup looks so good in the preseason. He's a good blow-up candidate.
I think it's 3 touchdown game for Dak Prescott. I got him as a top 10 option. Last and most certainly not least.
Yeah, give it to me.
Bam! The whole pie, the whole shebang.
8
Look at all those
slices.
Pepperonis,
Meat
8
lover.
slices.
I love this start. Lamar Jackson is pretty much my start of the week. I was tempted to make him my QB1 overall this week. So much to like about this matchup. Miami allowed 8.2 yards per pass attempt last season, so it's a very generous pass defense. They also allowed the 3rd most rushing yards to opposing quarterbacks. Lamar's going to have a day.
Let me pitch this to you. If this is mouth-watering, if it triggers these salivary glands, Barons. I'm not talking about the pizza necessarily, but I'm talking about the stat line. I have projected with Lamar Jackson 229 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 68 rushing yards, and a rushing TD. Are you in?
I am absolutely in. I will also mention that 68 rushing yards would be less than he averaged as a starter last year. He actually averaged 79 rushing yards per week.
It's going to be a big game for Lamar Jackson, and hopefully I'll get some of this pepperoni here pretty soon as well. Back to you.
All the pepperoni. Thank you very much, guys. Remember, you can't have football without the Hut. Now let's kick it on back to Los Angeles for this week's Off Their Game players. These are guys who are those started in more than 50% of Yahoo leagues, but will likely disappoint. Liz and Matt, who you got?
I guess I'm going to kick things off, if it's okay with you. I'm going to talk about Ezekiel Elliott. Look, I know there have been conflicting reports about the number of reps, snaps, touches, etc. 20 to 25 snaps is now the thought that he's going, but it's regardless because he has not been conditioning with the team. He's been in Cabo for 5 weeks. Yes, training with Marshall Faulk. Yes, he's looked great in practice, but it still boggles my mind that after paying him so much money, making him the highest paid running back in NFL history, that the Dallas Cowboys wouldn't want to ensure that he not suffer a soft tissue issue, a hamstring injury, plus the matchup is money. Yes, if the game goes close, they will roll him out. But is the game going to go close against the what are they called?
The Giants.
Against the Giants. They're so bad I don't even remember the damn name. This is a bottom-ranked run defense according to PFF heading into the season. If you drafted Tony Pollard, now is your opportunity to use him. I do think Ezekiel Elliott will be off his game like Lev Bell was 2 years ago. Get ready for week 2, though, babies.
And I'm going to stick with spicy preseason storylines, and I'm going to go with T.Y. Hilton as my guy to get out of your lineup this week. Because, look, again, I don't know if you heard this, but Andrew Luck he's gone. He's retired. And at the end of the day, I do think Jacoby Brissett is going to be a fine quarterback for this team, but it is the first week. I'd like to see it first. I think you know, wide receivers so deep at this point that there is going to be some guys that you can probably slot in as your 2, as your flex, what have you. And honestly, this matchup is tough anyways. Casey Hayward, the top cornerback for the Chargers, allowed just a 53% completion rate into his coverage last year per Sports Info Solutions. So tough matchup. Questionable quarterback play, just something that we need to see develop first. I think I'm going to stay away from him in week 1 and play it a little safe.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. It's time now for Quick Slants. We put 90 seconds on the clock and let our experts go on a particular matchup. We begin with a game you can watch live tonight on the Yahoo Sports app. The Steelers visit the defending Super Bowl champion New England Patriots. Guys, what are you looking for in this?
Yeah, no Antonio Brown this week. We'll probably see him in Miami next week. So our colleagues out in Playa Vista already talked about this. I love Josh Gordon in this matchup, absolutely. Working outside the numbers. A guy that was wide receiver 23 last season over a 9-game stretch in which he saw 78% of the team snaps. I think it's 5 for 70 and a TD for Flash out of the get-go there.
Yeah, we get a lot of questions answered here, right? You look at Pittsburgh last year, that's about 170 targets up for grabs with Antonio Brown gone. And then you look at New England, there's about 130 targets up for grabs with no Gronk, no Chris Hogan, right? So we're going to see an interesting distribution there. I'm pretty interested to see what Vance McDonald can do this week.
Dante Moncrief,
been a super buzzy player all preseason. I've seen him go as high as the tight end 4 in drafts. We'll see if that pays off. We've been hearing that he's not really going to see an increase in snaps.
Over or under 5.5 receptions for James White?
I'll take the over there. I mean, this is going to be a fun game. This game could reach, I don't know, 54, 55 points.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with you. I think James White is going to be sneaky good. I think he's a top 20 running back option this week, a guy that averaged over 7 targets per game. Yep. It's him, it's Edelman, and it's Josh Gordon. Those are the allies that are trusted by Tom Brady. By the way, speaking of Julian Edelman, in 4 matchups, the last 4 games against the Steelers, listen to these gaudy numbers. 8.8 receptions per game, 91.3 yards per game, and he's only $19. And Yahoo DFS, you are taking our money. That's ridiculous. Get Julian Edelman in your lineup everywhere.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that Steelers-Patriots matchup has a high over-under, and that's a perfect segue to this week's Shootout or Shutdown. This is where Andy and Brad take a look at top and bottom Vegas point totals for this week, and of course, discuss their fantasy viability.
Yeah, let's go down the East Coast from Foxborough and talk about a matchup in Tampa Bay, San Francisco. We've got a high total there at 51. Start everybody, Barons?
Yeah, this is basically a fantasy buffet, right? We like everything about this.
Yes.
Even with Mike Evans sick this week, Evans is a surefire starter. I mean, these defenses ranked 30th and 31st in terms of passing touchdowns allowed last year. I don't know if anybody stops anyone else in this game.
I don't think the plague could even stop Mike Evans.
We're going to learn a little something about the backfield for San Francisco, right? We think it's going to be a straight
50-50,
with Breida and Tevin Coleman. I'm a little bit more interested in Breida this week. He's averaged 5 yards per carry for his career. Again, looked terrific in the preseason.
Vita Vea, question mark. We're not entirely sure if he's going to play. And if he does play, he's going to play the full complement of snaps. No JPP as well for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And they were going to be at the bottom of the ocean floor defensively with those guys. So I'm with you on Matt Breida. I've got him aggressively ranked. I got him inside my top 24 at the running back position. And I like, Marquise Goodwin, Dante Pettis. Can he get off the schneid?
Right.
And your boy George Kittle. Oh my God.
Lot to learn about the San Francisco receiving core in this one and where all the targets are going
And
to go.
Chris Godwin, 8 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown. Book it.
Only $20 in our daily game.
That's true. Yeah, he's ultra cheap. Him and Edelman are in my lineup right now. Spoiler alert. Let's go to Denver and Oakland in the capper on the flip side of the coin here. The over-under, it hovers right now. It's at 42.5, 43 at most locales.
Been kind of a busy week for Oakland.
Slightly. It's been a bit of a roller coaster ride. Off the rails, but now it's Tyrell Williams, it's Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller we do like on the Oakland Raiders. What about Josh Jacobs, though, against that aggressive Denver front?
Yeah, you remove Antonio Brown from the offense, and it just sort of, his presence tilts the field, right, and helps everybody else. I'm nervous about Josh Jacobs. Especially in a non-bye week when I've probably got other options, I would tend toward resting Josh Jacobs here.
Yeah, the aforementioned James White, I would rather have than a Josh Jacobs in my lineup. And one other note here, too, that's tied the Denver Broncos, actually, two. I love both running backs. I think Phillip Lindsay and Royce Freeman have a ton of upside of finding the end zone each in this game because the Denver Broncos are going to be a run-first offense. They got a top 10 offensive line. That's a sheepish front of the Oakland Raiders. And how about Emmanuel Sanders, who is just a medical marvel? Yeah. Cortland Sutton, Deshaun Hamilton really struggled in the preseason and throughout training camp. Sanders going up against Darryl Worley, who, get this, Barons, gave up a 119.9 passer rating to his assignments.
Let me give you one other fact about this game. Oakland's defense last year allowed the 4th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. Denver's defense allowed the 8th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. So I think Waller and Noah Fant can come into play.
Oh, of course you had to work in an Iowa Hawkeye tight end. Drink America.
Surprise. All right, well, we've got to take our first break, but when we come back, we're going to check in with Tank just to see how he's holding up with all those Browns fans. Stay with us. back to Fantasy Football Live.
That was George.
Yeah, I know.
Are you all right? Can you contain yourself?
Are you going to be okay?
I'm good. No, I'm good.
I mean, you're fully clothed, so I'm shocked by that.
For those who haven't figured it out yet, Andy is a huge George Kittle fan. Anyway, as much fun as we're having here in studio, we want to check in with our buddy Tank to see how he's surviving or hopefully thriving in the sea of Brown fans out there. Tank? How's it going?
Hey, I tell you, man, it's hard out here for a pimp right now. I'm telling you, they give me all kind of hell with this Titan jersey on, but I'm trying to make it do what it do. Now, I got Jason and Adam out here. We got some fantasy questions for y'all. So, Jason, because you got the Titans jersey on, you up first. What's the question?
So I'm trying to decide between Cooper Kupp and Sterling Shepard.
So we got Cooper Kupp, Sterling Shepard. Me personally, I'm gonna go with Cooper Kupp because they say he's healthy. He's in a potential shootout with the Carolina Panthers, but I'm gonna throw it back to the studio and see what my boys say.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I'm going Cooper Kupp as well. I mean, he's been healthy. He's had a miraculous recovery from the ACL injury. He should be all systems go. And that over-under total, you know, it's been right around 50 for much of the week, so there should be some points there.
Yeah, this really has been a best-case scenario recovery from the ACL. Everything, all signs point to good things from Cooper Kupp this year. You want him with Jared Goff.
No doubt.
Hey, we got a Cooper Kupp sweep, dog.
Cooper Kupp.
Now, my man Adam, what's our question?
I've got Antonio Brown.
AB.
That's
AB
trouble,
continue.
Lucky dog.
Who do I pick up for Monday night? Or for this weekend?
So he wants to know who he picks up for this weekend. He has AB. Only person on the bench is Kiki QT on the beach. So is he going to play Kiki or is he going to pick up someone like Curtis Samuel? Who else is out there on the waiver wire?
Kiki's ankle.
Yeah, I mean, Kiki's not 100% right now, so I'm just, checking my ranks, kind of going down the list of a potential player that could be available. Marquise Goodwin, we mentioned him, is a guy that immediately comes to mind in a game with a lot of shootout appeal. Goodwin has an established rapport and chemistry with Jimmy Garoppolo. Everybody's been talking about Dante Pettis and his up and down preseason, but Goodwin's the guy. I mean, he poses with tigers and pools. So there could be a shot for him there to go for like 70 yards and a touchdown to give him the matchup. That would be my suggestion if available.
I would just say you don't have to add a Raiders receiver. I've been getting a ton of questions
No,
about Hunter Renfrow.
Come on,
about
man.
Terrell Williams. Like, you don't have to add one. It's week 1. You don't have to roll with a Raider.
Wait, whoa, this. You're going to have to slide.
All right, so basically they're saying week 1, you don't have to roll with the Raiders. And so Marquise Goodwin was a good throwout. And actually, I can agree with that because that could be a potential shootout in Tampa Bay. So we expect Jimmy G and Jameis to be airing it out today. So look at Goodwin, maybe some of those other wide receivers. I think Pettis may be taken, but you look to the flip side of Tampa Bay, Godwin, Evans, they already taken. They're going to ball out. Maybe look at the second tight end break.
All right, perfect, man. Thank you.
Hey, so that's what we're doing out here. And I need to try to find some more cover because the block is hot.
Let's go, Brownies! Let's do this. Woo!
Well, hold on. Tighten up now. Hold on.
Thank you very much, Tank. We'll see him later. For now, let's get into over-unders. This is where we give our experts a player and a stat, and they pick whether or not they'll go over or under. Easy enough. Okay, starting with the Cardinals and Kyler Murray. We haven't seen him play in a regular season game yet, and today is that day. So, guys, over-under, Murray will combine for 299.5 rushing and passing yards. Andy?
Oh, I am so excited for this one. We're going to learn a lot about Arizona's offense this week. I am excited. We expect this to be a fast-paced offense, heavy on pass volume. You look at Kyler Murray last year at Oklahoma. He rushed for over 1,000 yards. So I'd like to give him 35, 40 rushing yards here. Detroit's defense last season allowed 7.9 yards per pass attempt, so this is a relatively friendly setup for him. I think he goes just over in terms of combined yards. I'll give him about 310.
Oh, I concur with Andy Behrens and his very astute observation. Look, the only flavor in the ice cream shop in Arizona this preseason was vanilla, and they're going to be breaking out all of the different varieties available to them within this air raid scheme. Look, I understand that the top offensive lineman is out for the Arizona Cardinals, but break contain against an aggressive, maybe over-pursuing front of the Detroit Lions is medicine for Kyler Murray and those quick-moving feet. So I think he can do a lot of damage on the ground. And this game, if it's played at a breakneck pace, which I believe it will be, I think he gets over the 300 combined, and it could be by a significant margin.
Liz is shaking her head.
She's a hater when it comes to Kyler.
Brad, I mean, Kyler's gonna need some medicine after this game and after Trey Flowers blows through his bottom-ranked offensive line, even with Marcus Gilbert in the lineup, which he won't be. Brad, I expect this from you. Andy, I am sorely disappointed. What sort of tequila has Evans been putting in your coffee this morning? This is a rookie quarterback with a rookie head coach playing their first game. Do not expect RG3 the next coming in week 1. It's not going to happen. Manage your expectations. I love Kyler's upside eventually, but you are underestimating Matt Patricia's ability and the Lions' desire to play keep away under.
Such hate.
All right, thank you, Liz. Let's kick it right back to Liz and Matt. You guys got anything good on the interwebs for us?
Well, the internet is always filled with only good things.
Define good, Amanda. Define good.
That's a tough standard to crack here.
Yes.
But we do have some more questions, your fantasy questions to answer. Hashtag AskFFL. The first one is from Sean, and he asks, Mark Ingram or Duke Johnson, no PPR. I know I'm more in on Duke Johnson than you are for this entire season, but I have a feeling that we both agree this is obviously Mark.
A Mark Ingram answer right here, especially in a no PPR league. This to me is about exposure to the goal line. Mark Ingram is going to have that. I mean, he's going to roll this week especially.
Yeah, Ravens 7-point favorites over the frickin' Dolphins.
See, you forgot the name of the opponent. It happens.
Who the hell are they even playing on defense anyways? All right, next one. That was easy. Let's maybe Teddy ask us a harder question here. Keenan Allen or Julian Edelman in week 1?
That's actually.
Oh, no, that's not it. Oh, wrong one. I've been cued the wrong question here. Mr. W is actually asking Kupp, Landry, Westbrook. Liz, we were talking about Westbrook this morning.
We sure were.
How do you feel about that question?
I feel like that question was very quick. Cooper Kupp in a potential shootout with we like to say our Los Angeles Rams. I like to say our Los Angeles Rams versus Matt's Carolina Panthers. These are all nice PPR options. A lot of people are high on Dede Westbrook. Don't forget about the Chris Conley revenge game, though. I think in this matchup, however, I am still going to go. I'm going to go with Cooper Kupp. I like Landry in case something were to happen to OBJ's hip, but that's a lot of hypotheticals. We know the Kupp is healthy, and we know how much Jared Goff likes him.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% here. It's Cooper Kupp for me. I know Dede Westbrook is a super popular player.
Yeah.
Get off. All that, whatever. Yeah. Like Cooper Kupp in the higher scoring game. I know the total is high in Kansas City, Jacksonville, but come on, it's Jacksonville. Give me a break. Next question, or the question I tried to answer earlier, is from Teddy. Keenan Allen or Julian Edelman in week 1. I'm going Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
100%. I mean, he is a bona fide wide receiver 1, and there's lots to figure out in New England still. And let's not forget that New England is a team that adjusts as they receive tape and as they move forward. And the first couple of weeks are always a little bit rusty for them. So I like Keenan Allen in this one as well.
Totally agree. And remember, you can use hashtag AskFFL, and your tweets will appear behind us, which, again, you're famous adjacent if you do that. And Scott Pianowski is answering questions on Twitter right now, so you don't just have to rely on us two goofballs.
Good stuff, guys. Thank you very much. It's time to look at some tough flex decisions this week in our Fantasy Flex segment presented by Old Navy. All right, I'll kick it over to Andy and Brad, who are helping fans who used the AskFFL hashtag, and they're, of course, sporting their favorite built-in tough Old Navy denim. Brad, what are the Fantasy Flex dilemmas this week?
I'm feeling good. I can do some power squats in these jeans. So let's go ahead.
I don't think anyone needed that, but sure.
Hey, I needed it because I'm a little sore right now. And Andrea's kind of sore, too, because this is a really tough, difficult decision for her.
This is probably one of, like, the 4 or 5 hardest questions
we've ever received. Yeah, okay, so let's put this in a context. She needs a flex and a super flex. Now, for those that are unfamiliar with the super flex, you can then essentially flex a quarterback along with a running back, a wide receiver, or tight end. This is a 16-team league. This is the downside. These are the perils of a 16-teamer, and it's full-point PPR. So, DK Metcalf, Rashad Penny, Naheem Hines, Deebo Samuel, Case Keenum, yuck. But again, this is a 16-teamer. What do you do?
I know it's terrible. Yeah, you have to start the quarterback. That's the thing about Superflex leagues, right? Like, the quarterback is going to score. Even in a bad day, Keenum is going to give you 15, 16 points. And it's probably going to be a bad day. You're just hoping to chase some garbage time stats in this one. You're hoping he can finish with, I don't know, 1-2 touchdown passes, probably 2 interceptions, maybe not a huge yardage total. That's still a pretty good day for fantasy purposes. And then my other guy is going to be Rashad Penny. I think you would probably agree with that.
Yep.
Total blowout game. We know that Seattle wants to run the ball early and often. Penny's going to be a part of that.
Yeah, and look, that's probably going to be a very positive game script. Again, Seattle favored by 9.5. You're going to get a heavy dose of Chris Carson, but maybe even on 10 to 12 carries, there's a good shot that he could rip off a long one as Carson really bludgeons the opposition and warms it up for Rashad Penny. But I'm with you on Case Keenum. It's going to be hideous. Best of luck and Godspeed to you, Andrea, for that one. Let's move on to another dilemma here. This is coming from Brent. Needs 2 and a flex, half-point PPR. A little bit more palatable compared to the last one.
This is the flip side.
And we kind of almost have an embarrassment of fantasy riches here. We've got Josh Jacobs going against that stiff front of the Denver Broncos, Nick Chubb against the Titans, Austin Eckler trying to fill those gigantic shoes of Melvin Gordon alongside Justin Jackson, Matt Breida, who we've already talked up, going against the Buccaneers, and Will Fuller. All he does is score touchdowns when Deshaun Watson is under center.
11 touchdowns in 16 career games with Deshaun Watson. So that's not too bad. I'm tempted by Fuller. All of these guys are strong starts, except perhaps Josh Jacobs. I'm a little bit worried about that.
But we need 2.
Chubb is easy for me.
Obvious.
Chubb is like a top 5, top 6 starter almost every week, and I'm leaning Austin Eckler here. There's no Melvin Gordon. We know he's going to get somewhere between 15 and 19 touches. That was basically the plan for him when Gordon sat last year. Slight lean to Eckler over Breida. I love Breida too.
Executive decision. I'm taking Matt Breida. I don't think you really disagree. I mean, you were hesitant with Austin Eckler.
I got a lot of good things to say about Breida as well.
Tampa Bay. They're in the dungeon defensively already, and I think Matt Breida finds the end zone. I think Tevin Coleman does too. And Nick Chubb, remember, last year led all running backs in yards after contact per attempt, despite the offensive line issues. You got to get him in your lineup. Let's get in one more. Ryan Joint needs 1 in a flex, half-point PPR. Tyrell Williams, no thank you. Christian Kirk against the Lions. Maybe see some Darius Slay today. Darius Geis, difficult matchup against Philly, though he's going to get the lion's share of the touches. And Dante Pettis, again, we mentioned how rocky of a road that he had in the month of August. Can he right the ship against the Buccaneers? Who do you got? Need only 1 half-point PPR.
Well, if I'm giving Kyler Murray over 300 combined yards, it's a pretty good day for Christian Kirk. I think Kirk and Fitzgerald are strong starts in this one. I think both of them strong candidates for 8-9 catches.
Yeah, do not worry about the preseason and the 5.4 YPA of Kyler Murray. Don't worry about the lack of Christian Kirk involved in that offense. Entirely different game, entirely different animal in week 1. Get the former A&M standout in your lineup. Back to you.
Thank you very much, guys. And to shop Old Navy's built-in tough denim collection, check out oldnavy.com. It's time now for another round of quick slants. This time, let's put 90 seconds on the clock to discuss the Rams' race back to the Super Bowl. It all starts today against a Panthers team with a healthy Cam Newton. Now, since we're talking LA, let's let Matt and Liz break this one down. Hey, guys.
Yeah, and we're not going to talk LA first. We're going to talk about my Carolina Panthers. I'm back in. Bigger than ever before. I am so excited about this offense. I've been talking about it all offseason. I think this is by far the best group of skill position players that Cam Newton has ever had to work with. It's the best offense in the Ron Rivera era.
Certainly the speediest.
Yeah, no question. I mean, look, we're not talking about clowns like Jericho Cotchery in his mid-30s or Philly Brown. We've got DJ Moore. We've got Curtis Samuel. Actually, I really like DJ Moore more in this matchup between the two because of the middle of the field of that defense. Clay Matthews, like, give me a break. What is this, like his 100th NFL season?
And Nicole Roby-Coleman is quite good.
He's quite good, but also they lost LaMarcus Joyner, free safety, who kind of chips in as a nickelback. I'm really just excited to finally see this offense in full form.
All right, well, so that's your Carolina take. I will talk about the LA side of things since they are my side piece team. I didn't stutter, that's the truth. I'm interested to talk about this backfield, right? Sean McVay has said that Todd Gurley is going to get a full workload. He's not going to be on a pitch count. We've heard that before, and it hasn't been true. Also, let's not forget about the changes to the Rams offensive line. Roger Saffold now holding things down in Tennessee. Excellent run blocker. John Sullivan, the former center. He's now a free agent. Replacing him is a sophomore player. So I don't think Todd Gurley's going to have the ease in which he's had in previous seasons to run. So even if he isn't on a full pitch, even if he is on a full pitch count, I do think it's going to be a little more difficult. He's my RB15, so outside of the top 12 in week 1.
Makes sense.
Thank you very much, guys. All right, everyone, if you will, please rise for the Honorable Judge Andrew Behrens. After a long hiatus, Fantasy Court is back in session, and this week Andy tries to clear up some trade disputes.
I missed the wig, man. That is
I'm embarrassed to say how much I've missed this wig. When it was coming on, I was like, oh yeah, I'm home. We have a question this week, or a case this week, that I feel like we dealt with versions of this last season as well. Moderate in Arizona comes in and says that they have an issue that carried over from last season. He lists a couple of trades here that are not even particularly lopsided. The gripe from the league is that they are complaining that the trades were with teams that had been eliminated from playoff contention, so it was collusion. My friends, that is not the definition of collusion. That's not how collusion works. Collusion is some sort of secret agreement that disrupts the competitive balance of a league. That's not what's going on here. We have teams, even if they're eliminated from playoff contention, they're trying to play it out. They're trying to run through the tape. They're trying to be competitive through the end of the season. That is what we want. Nothing ruins a fantasy league more than deadbeat teams, zombie teams who stop trying. If we tell them that they can't make trades, what are we going to tell them? That they can't add players, that they can't find substitutes for injured players? No, we don't want that. What we want in most leagues is some sort of incentive for everyone to continue trying. So if this is really a huge deal for your league, maybe move up the trade deadline a week or two, maybe make it the first week in November. But for sure, what I'm ordering this league to do is to set some sort of last place punishment so everybody has some incentive to compete through the end of the season. Again, that's what we want. We don't want any owners to stop trying. So ordered.
That was a hard gavel drop right there.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
I'm going to bring a firm gavel all season.
Are you a poodle or are you a judge? I don't know.
I think I'm a labradoodle.
Oh,
a labradoodle
also,
judge.
Remember, if a last-second play or a missed kick costs you your matchup this week, tell us about it. Send a video to @YahooFantasy and use the hashtag FFLBadBeats, and Andy Behrens will try, hopefully, to sympathize with you. It's about that time to step away, but we've got plenty more for you right here on Fantasy Football Live. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Fantasy Football Live. You guys like the new studio, the killer tunes? We got some beats going this morning.
I like the mood lighting we have. I mean, I'm just chilling. It's kind of a soft rave in here.
I'm still experiencing...
A soft rave.
A soft rave.
I'm
like
experiencing the afterglow of the wig. Oh, it felt so good.
Does it feel good to get it back? I'm so happy for
My
you.
long, luxurious tresses.
Amazing.
All right, well, we're going to send it down to LA to check in with Liz Loza so she can tell us which sleepers will cause some fantasy damage this week. Hey, Liz.
Hey, so I want to kick things off with a wide receiver. Listen, the Lions' passing game isn't going to be worth much, but this week, in week 1, you should take full advantage. I know Kenny Galladay's a stud. You know I know Kenny Galladay is a stud. Rose All-Galladay, but I actually want to talk about Marvin Jones because he is the better value. This matchup against the Arizona Cardinals is absolute money. Patrick Peterson is suspended. Robert Alford is hurt. Jones is likely to draw a lot of coverage from Tremaine Brock, who has started all of 5 games over the past 2 years on 2 different teams. He's only $14 in DFS. This is a player who, when on the field, has consistently put up wide receiver 2 fantasy numbers. He's going to do that again in week 1. Look at the Lions' number 2 receiver, Marvin Jones, in week 1. Another receiver, already talked up by my esteemed colleague Brad Evans, is Marquise Goodwin. Yes, Jimmy G, the team's quarterback, might have a little bit of rust coming off of this ACL injury, and there is no better matchup to shake that rust off than in this one against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He has chemistry with Marquise Goodwin. If you look at games 12 through 17 of the 2017 season when he was on fire, Marquise Goodwin averaged over 8 targets per game. He had over 75 yards or a touchdown in 5 of those games. The matchup against the Bucs defense is awesome. This is a bottom-ranked secondary, plus it's all sorts of banged up. I think Marquise Goodwin is going to give you solid flex numbers, so go ahead and take a look at him. Oh, also, I know we're talking about Pettis a lot, and Brad mentioned his up-and-down off-season or preseason. What about that groin injury? I'm a little bit worried about it. Yeah, he's healthy and good to go, but what if he's pressing? What if he's pushing, wanting to impress Kyle Shanahan? Might have a little bit of a re-aggravation. Week 1, look at Goodwin. Finally, let's talk about a tight end. Yes, we're throwing darts. Maybe Jordan Reeded you already. How about Will Dissly? I'm going there, the Seattle Seahawks second-year tight end. He performed hugely in his rookie outing, scored in weeks 1 and 2 of last year, was lost for the season to a patella tear. But listen, much to my co-host Matt Harmon's chagrin, Tyler Lockett cannot catch all the balls in Seattle. David Moore is out. DK Metcalf is a raw rookie coming off of a knee scope. Jerron Brown, is he, isn't he? It is #complicated with the Seattle Seahawks. Look at Will Dissly in this one, plus the Cincinnati Bengals. What a great matchup. Gave up the most fantasy points at the tight end position last year.
Thank you very much, Liz. We will now send Brad back over to his favorite spot at the monitor so he can get his gambling fix on as we kick off the 2019 edition of Fade the Noise.
Yes, Kirby's going without food this week because the Bears depleted all of my funds. Thank you, Chicago and Matt Nagy. So it's time to replenish those lost dollar bills, y'all, with some of the matchups today. And let's start off in the desert. It's been a popular game to discuss today. What version of the Arizona Cardinals are we going to see? We've got the Lions favored by 2.5 right now in Sin City with a total of 46, and that total's come down. It's cascaded from 47.5, 48 in some places, and I am taking the over in this one. Look, I think Arizona's going to try to force a fast pace in this one, maybe 70 to 75 plays. The Lions, yeah, they want to run the ball. They want to try to slow it down, be more conservative, but knowing the shortcomings on defense, particularly in that defensive backfield with no Peterson, no Robert Alford for Arizona, I think this game becomes a shootout in the desert. All right, let's move on to our next matchup, and it's under the primetime lines between the Pittsburgh Steelers and New England Patriots, and I've kind of gone back and forth on this. I think the line is right in New England -6. I don't see a whole lot of value there. Originally, I was taking the under on 51, but now it's a buy on the over at 49. I think this game also has some fireworks possibilities. Look, I know Big Ben has been under 19 fantasy points his last 4 matchups against the New England Patriots, and sometimes he struggles on the road, but last season, over 300 yards per game away from Heinz Field. I know New England's defense is probably top 5, particularly in the secondary, but I think New England's going to put up a ton of points in this game, and it's going to necessitate Big Ben to really air it out to Juju and company. So I think this game finishes in the 50s. Moving on to Monday night in the capper of the week between the Denver Broncos and Oakland Raiders. How much is Antonio Brown worth in terms of the line? Well, he's worth 5.5 points because the Raiders opened at -3 a few days ago, and now with Brown in New England, the line has swung in the other direction. Denver laying 2.5. And good Lord have mercy. Who are the Raiders got? Is Tim Brown going to come out of retirement and help them? No. You're taking the Broncos all day long at -2.5. This is a gift. I think it's going to be a lot of Royce Freeman, a lot of Phillip Lindsay on the ground. This is not an intimidating Oakland Raiders defense. I think Denver wins this game comfortably as the Raiders, shell-shocked from the Brown debacle, tried to readjust. And then finally, because you know I love the player props, Yos, we're going to go with will Duke Johnson go for more than 36 receiving yards? Hell to the yes, he's going to do this. It could be a 50-yard game. You look at New Orleans last season, did a really good job containing running backs in the trenches, but through the air is where they struggled. They gave a 5.7 receptions per game to the running back position and over 45 yards per game to RBs as well. And Duke really thrives in space. Expect Deshaun Watson to dump off to him with an aggressive, heavy blitz in his face. Again, pound the over on 36 receiving yards for the Dukester. Go out there and make those dollar bills, fools. Back to you, Borges.
Thank you very much, Brad. Now, I think Tank is having a little too much fun out there without us. So what do you say we check in on him? Tank, what kind of trouble are you getting into?
Hey, yo, I'm telling you, man, the block has been hot out here. I've been running through these hallways and cuts. But I think I got the remedy. Because these Browns fans are about to go into the stadium, and I need to be able to blend in. And my man has a gift for the Tank dog. Can I get a dog check? Dog check! I got my man Bobby right here. And so tell me, what should we expect from these Brownies this year?
Super Bowl, man.
Super Bowl or bust?
Super Bowl.
Just with Bacon, OBJ, we don't automatically go Super Bowl.
Landry, man, you got Garrett. Come on, you got to bring them all in.
Hey, Chubb gonna be toting that thing?
Chubb's gonna be trucking it, man.
But what you think about Ben Roethlisberger and those Pittsburgh Steelers? They still got it without AB?
Nah, not at all.
So y'all don't have no worries here in Cleveland?
Not at all.
So
Not
it's just like LeBron in basketball. Y'all just gonna take it all, no problem.
Take it all.
Hold on, everybody else feel this way? Is it Super Bowl or bust?
It's Super Bowl or bust, and it's the dog check. So Odell came through. We go into the Super Bowl, man. Let's go.
Brownies, here we go. Here we go, Brownies, here we go. Hold on, I got one question, though. Now, this is a fantasy show. Who expecting the ball out with the Browns today?
Baker's gonna ball out every game.
OBJ?
Chubb.
Oh, Jarvis? Now, do we think Jarvis is a number one, or a number 2 wide receiver today?
Jarvis, number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Jarvis.
Odell's gonna be number 1. We're gonna target him a lot.
Chubb's getting 2 rushing.
But I tell you who's gonna score the touchdowns. It's my boy Njoku. He's gonna score the touchdowns. He's gonna be the big boy Njoku. He's down there tight end. He's gonna be open. We got the big Jarvis on the right. We got big Odell on the left, and we got Chubb on the backfield. It's going down today, brother.
Well, I guess we just all in on the Brownies today, y'all. So we're gonna send it back to y'all, and we'll be back in a little bit with some daily action. Here we go.
You know what I want? I want Tank to put that jersey on over his Titans.
Layer up, son.
That's what the people want.
That's what we want. I don't know that will happen.
By the way, I've never heard anybody say the name Rashad Higgins with the enthusiasm that random fan did.
And I want to bring him up real quick because we mentioned Marquise Goodwin as somebody you could pick up and stream if you're a concerned Stephon Diggs owner. I think Hollywood Higgins, seeing premium coverage, could be a guy that finds the end zone. I know Matt Harmon is like, praise the Lord, Hollywood Higgins. He loves that dude. And
That's
for good reason.
That's your Matt Harmon impression.
That is my, I mean, he can hit all those octaves. He's like Mariah Carey. He's got that range.
Well, speaking of Matt Harmon, it's time now to get back out to LA for some more social nuggets, guys. Matt, what do you say to that?
Give me your Mariah Carey,
I'm
Matt.
super offended, number one, that Andy thinks that I've never shown that kind of enthusiasm for Hollywood Higgins. Clearly, we haven't spent that much time together. Also, that impression of me is horrible. I'm a baritone, guys, of course, obviously. And now let's go to some social questions. But we're not just pulling off Twitter because we are paying attention to you people in the chat room. And there's been a lot of buzz about Stefon Diggs today. You know, he's banged up, and you know all the goofballs out there will say that he's banged up. You can't use him on the injury report. Liz, let me take your temperature on Stefon Diggs. How you feeling today?
I mean, is this some decoy thought? Right? Like, I think this is a situation where I am usually not a start your studs purist, but I also feel like it's week 1. It's Stefon Diggs.
It's a great matchup.
It's a great matchup. And also, give me a week where Stefon Diggs isn't working through a little something.
Right. Come on. I mean,
you're going to start him.
Everyone's a little bit banged up. Like people saying Emmanuel Sanders or Stefon Diggs.
I have him in my top 15.
Well, hey,
I'm not afraid of it.
Fire up Stefon Diggs there. Another question I want to hit is from YouTube. Trey S. asks us, Duke Johnson or Sony Michel, full PPR. Now, it is the full PPR, but Patriots backfield.
I want to go Duke Johnson in this.
You're going to go Duke Johnson?
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
I'm going to go Sony Michel.
What? We like body switched. What is
I
this?
know, right? I love Sony Michel in this matchup. Look,
you always love Sony Michel. That's because you drafted so many shares of him, so he is like trying to hopefully make this happen for himself. Don't listen to Matt Harm. I did not draft Duke Johnson. I've been off of Duke Johnson, and I still think he's going to eat, especially with Kiki Cutie banged up, and Kenny still learning the playbook. Who even knows how many snaps he's going to get this week? Duke Johnson is going to see that short to intermediate passing game action.
This is the same thing what we were saying with Josh Gordon earlier. This is the time to use Sony Michel. He's healthy right now. It should be a high-scoring game. Give me a break. Am I wish casting maybe a little bit? Not relevant. The point is, good matchup, touchdown upside. Last thing I want to hit, because I know we want to talk about one of these players. This is Dave from Twitter, asks us, Eric Ebron, Darren Waller, or Delaney Walker?
Oh, this is a...
You gave an enthusiastic answer to this off camera.
I know, this is a Darren Waller play. Eric Ebron, not trusting him. Delaney Walker, ooh, let's see how you feel. Plus, it's not a great matchup. So, yes, Darren Waller, let's go for the upside. Raiders deserve a little bit of love after all of this back and forth, right?
Yeah, I mean, youth, exciting. He's got a great
opportunity.
One of the only interesting stories coming off Hard Knocks was Darren Waller that wasn't Antonio Brown, and I really think he's going to smash in this matchup. Good perimeter corners in Denver, but I really think where do you attack them?
That funnel.
With the tight end position, and I think Darren Waller is going to have a breakout season, and I think it starts Monday night. I'm in total agreement. We'll end it on a good note here.
Thank you very much, guys. We know you've been patiently waiting on the phone lines, and we thank you for that. So let's get into some play calling. Remember, the number to call is 877-FFL-GURU. Our first caller is Dina in New York. Good morning. What's your question?
Hi. Hi, everybody. How are you guys doing over there?
Hey, Dina.
What's up, Dina? Welcome back.
Yeah, I took the year off last year because my daughter got married and I had so much going on. So I had my son take over for me. He didn't do too well. He came in 10th place, but I am back and I'm going to do it this year.
Awesome.
I'm ready to go.
Amazing. What's your question?
Okay, so I have a question, a wide receiver question. I'm the standard league. Again, I have Julio Jones, Stefon Diggs, Marquise Goodwin, Alshon Jeffrey. Out of those 4, who would you sit? And I also have Phillip Rivers and Matt Ryan. That's another issue.
Well, I go Rivers over Ryan first and foremost. Now,
I agree with that. Brutal matchup for Ryan against Minnesota.
So it boils down to your comfort level with Stefon Diggs and the hamstring. And he's been limited.
And you're a coward. We know that.
Well, I'm not playing him because those things can flare up at any moment. And I like the crutches that Julio is a no-brainer. Alshon's a no-brainer based on the matchup against Washington. I'm not worried about Josh Norman. I'm going to go Marquise just because it's Tampa flippin' Bay. So I'm playing Goodwin over Stefon Diggs.
I get it. That's a friendly matchup. You look at Atlanta's defense last year, though, and that is the matchup that Stefon Diggs gets. Again, he practiced on Thursday. It's not like he just It's not like he just limped into practice on Friday and barely made it through. I mean, he practiced on Thursday. We know he's going to go. Atlanta last year, according to Football Outsiders, 31st in defensive DVOA. It is the best matchup on the board in this question. Also, why didn't Dina's son call us last year?
Seriously, come on.
Yeah,
Step up, Junior.
So I'm playing Julio and Diggs.
All right, he's going the opposite direction. I'm going Goodwin over Diggs.
Awesome. Thank you, Dina. Next up, we have Matthew in Montreal. Good morning, Matthew.
No, to you guys. Happy to be back. Happy to be back. Now I have an RB2 kind of flex question. This is non-PPR. All good options, not great options. So Sony Michel, Duke Johnson, Tevin Coleman, or Alshon Jeffrey. Thank you very much, guys, and have a wonderful season.
Wow, thank you so much.
If I'm only playing one in standard, it's going to be Sony Michel.
Yeah, it's so close.
You know he's healthy for this one. We know the game is going to go 50+.
I think if you had a percentage chance of each one of these guys finding the end zone, they're about equal, to be honest, this week. Because the standard league, touchdowns rule the roost.
Yep.
But I'm going to go Sony Michel as well. He's healthy. You're getting a goal-to-go situation. He is going to be the plow, the hammer to cap off a drive for the New England Patriots. And I think they're going to live in the red zone tonight. So I'm with you. I'm going Sony.
Awesome. All right, well, those of you still on hold, hang in there. We'll get to more of your calls later in the show. We are going to step away for just a quick minute. Now, when we return, Tank gives us his daily fantasy players for the week. Look at that sweet little pup.
Oh,
hang out with him. Welcome back to Fantasy Football Live. We've got some more over-unders for you as we roll along here in Week 1. Now, as we said earlier, the Rams face the Panthers today, and there's one important piece of LA's offense that has been discussed at length. So let's get something out of the way first, Brad. I say Todd Gurley, you say...
Arthritic knee, you jackwagons!
Jackwagons. Such
goodness.
language for him.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, that was a lot more than I was
Explicit lyrics.
expecting. Okay, over under 14.5 touches today. Tank, let's start with you.
Now, I don't know which way Harmon is leaning, but I'm going to keep this real Kevin Hart for noise. Now, I know he's going to be squealing like a little pig talking about Ty Gurley's knee, but check this out. Ty Gurley had a gimp knee in the Super Bowl, and he still had 11 touches. Now, let's check this out. He rested all offseason, all training camp. The Rams are about to pay this man $15 million this year, or close to it. And hold up, this guy named Peyton Barber, in the upside down that's known as the Tampa Bay backfield, carried the ball 14.6 times per game. And you trying to tell me that Ty Gurley getting $15 million is not going to touch the ball 15 times this week? You got to be out of your damn mind, Noise. I'm out.
Matt?
All right, well, I mean, am I going to on it? Look, I had some analysis prep, but am I really going to go with Brad over a guy like Tank, who actually, Tank's played the game. He understands players' bodies here. But for real, I am going over on this one because I think that I've debated all offseason whether Todd Gurley's going to be a hot starter and a slow finisher or a slow start and a fast finish. I think they're going to come out right out of the gate and ride him in this game. I mean, and honestly, it's a cheap line anyways. If he gets 15 touches, that's fine. I'm over.
Plug your ears, Tank, because I'm about to bring the noise, fool. I'm going under on this one, and for good damn reason. Look, all the smoke signals have been out there all off season. That's why they brought Malcolm Brown back. They barely even played Malcolm Brown in the preseason, preserving him probably for week 1. Darrell Henderson's been a major presence in the preseason, a guy that's probably going to see a lot of work in the pass game. I don't see him getting 12 or anything more than 12 or 13 touches in this game, and I think he's going to be limited against what I feel is an upgraded defensive line of the Carolina Panthers with Dontari Poe, Luke Kuechly in that linebacker core, Gerald McCoy now in the mix. I mean, I'm telling you guys, it's been a really sketchy, bizarre, vaguely stated workload potential by the coaching staff, by Gurley himself. You know, he's posting Antonio Brown like black and white videos, but I'm not buying any of the nonsense. So I'm taking the under. They're going to ease him in, and it's going to be a major fantasy disappointment in week 1.
Oh, look at that.
I would just like to point out.
Fade the noise.
Bring it.
All right, Tank, first of all, I would like to compliment you. Orange looks great on you. Now, even though Tank is not in studio, he never stops giving us the daily fantasy info we crave. So, Tank, who do you like this week from a DFS perspective?
Oh, we about to run it right back with the daily fantasy now. We have Dak Prescott at $26 and now. We got Ziku back behind him with 50 milli. We got Amari Cooper trying to get paid like that. We finally got Jason Witten out the booth. And now we still going up against the Eli Stankface and the Giants defense that's going to give you whatever you want. I'll take Dak for $26. De nada. Now, at running back, I'm going with Chris Carson because I may not have a penny for your thoughts, but I definitely know I don't need a penny in the backfield in Seattle because he's going to get RB1 touches going against that Bengals defense that gave up the 4th most rushing yards in the NFL last year. So, Chris Carson, easy cheap play at $23. Now, wide receiver, D.D. Westbrook. Now, when it comes to the Jags defense, you can't stop my man Mahomes. You can only hope to turn him over, which means that Nick Foles and that borderless offense is going to have to get busy to keep up with the Chiefs. And if you saw that 3rd preseason game, he was targeting D.D. Westbrook like he owed him money. So if that goes on in this week, D.D. will easily cover at $15. Now, at tight end, you could go Vance McDonald at $13, but I'm going to go with a safer play with Hunter Henry at tight end for $20. Now you have Melvin Gordon on the couch, still waiting to get paid. No more old man Gates to like suck up targets in the red zone. I understand Mike Williams is going to be in play, but Hunter Henry, he was healthy. He played in the playoffs last year, full off season to let that knee recover. So I'm expecting big things for him. He should get a lot of red zone targets today against the Indy defense that wasn't that good against the tight end last year. And last but not least, the Cleveland Browns defense at $12. Now, Mariota hasn't showed me nothing. Derrick Henry's been banged up all preseason. Now, the Titans defense, they're okay, but if we can get that shake and bake going with Odell Beckham, Juice Landry, Nick Chubb, David Njoku. Oh, and if they get up to a lead, then that Browns defense can pin their ears back and eat with Taylor Lewan back watching the game in Tennessee. Then it's going to be the return of the dog pound, baby.
Thank you, Tank. I just want to see Tank dancing with all of his fans back there. I think that's what we all need. Now, Tank is the reigning FFL Guru Challenge champ, and this year, Matt and I also joined the fray for our season-long daily fantasy competition. You know what that means, guys? 15 weeks of trash talk begins now.
Also means I'm finishing in 2nd place like I always do.
I'm just trying to avoid the basement, which is always hard for me.
Same. All right. Well, when it comes to charting receivers, nobody grinds like Matt Harmon. He puts countless hours into research and evaluation. So let's send it over to him for 1 like and 1 dislike from the wideout spot this week. Hey, Matt.
Yeah, let's hope some of those countless hours actually, evaluate to something here for these poor fantasy owners. One guy that I really like in week 1 is a player that I've liked for a long time. And bust out the sirens, my bird alert truthers. I am playing Albert Wilson confidently in week 1 against the Baltimore Ravens. I know that it's a tough matchup, sure, but let's think about this for a second. Let's take a grand view look of it. We know one thing about the Miami Dolphins, and that is that their offensive line was already a hilarious joke before they traded Laramie Tunsil. Now, I don't even know what they're going to do to keep quarterbacks upright, but I know that they're going to be wanting to get the ball out quick from Ryan Fitzpatrick's hands, who likes to target his slot receivers, and that is Albert Wilson this year. And last year, of course, Albert Wilson was a yards after catch monster, but he had just a 7.4 average depth of target. He's that short area slot receiver. I think he can pile up, maybe 7 to 8 catches here, give you a nice floor as a PPR option. But one guy, another slot receiver that I don't like this week, and it's not even just because he's not healthy, it's Kiki Cutie on Monday night. Look, he's going against the Saints, who, by the way, are getting back their good slot corner Patrick Robinson, but with Kiki Cutie, I think the issue here is obviously the health is a concern, and I think that's what led the Texans to get a little extra wide receiver help when they made that trade with the Miami Dolphins. Kenny Stills, I know that people will immediately assume that he's the Will Fuller insurance plan, but I think he's actually a bit more insurance for Kiki Cutie, who is the less proven player of the two. 41% of Stills' snaps over the last 3 years have come from the slot, which is, of course, QT's position in this offense. If he plays on Monday night, I'm avoiding him, and honestly, I don't think he's a guy that you're going to be wanting to start much of this year, which is unfortunate because he had a nice little rookie year, but all in all, 2019 I don't think is going to be his season.
Thank you, Matt. Let's move on to this week's fantasy freebies. These are players who are started in under 25% of Yahoo leagues that could really help you out this weekend. So, Brad, you like a certain Dallas Cowboy.
Yes, that is Michael Gallup, who I think is really going to come storming out of the gates, a guy that was unstoppable in the preseason, high-pointing the ball, getting supreme separation on all of his assignments. You might say, that's meaningless football, Brad, but it's going to be meaningful production in week one. Amari Cooper didn't see the field in the preseason, dealing with that heel injury. I think with the established rapport, the budding chemistry that he has right now with Dak Prescott, and likely to see rookie DeAndre Baker in coverage, I think the second-year standout starts off the season with a bang. I'm going to say at least 60 yards and a touchdown, a firm wide receiver 3, in my estimation, who could outperform and land inside the top 20 in week one.
Andy?
Give me Matt Breida this week. We've talked about this game quite a bit so far. Breida, again, in his career, averaging 5 yards per carry. He's facing a Tampa defense that allowed 124 rushing yards per game, 4.7 per carry. Neither defense is going to be able to stop either team in this one. Breida had a fantastic preseason, absolutely stellar preseason. Everything that we saw about the backfield committee in the preseason suggests that it's going to be a relatively even split between Breida and Tevin Coleman. We know that when Breida is healthy, he's a stud. You're going to start him here.
Tank, what say you?
Now, you didn't hear this from me, but if that Rams-Carolina Panthers game shoots out how we expected, then my man Curtis Samuel should be magically delicious for your sexy flexy. Now, we know Cam and Run CMC gonna eat, but there's gonna still be plenty of meat on the bone for Curtis Samuel, because where are they throwing him gadget plays, quick throws in space, or action in the run game, or deep throws, there's gonna be plenty of upside for Curtis Samuel to get off. So maybe throw him in your lineup, because he may be the sexiness that you're looking for. Holla.
Love it. Thank you, Tank. We are stepping away for another quick break, but hang tight. We'll have more FFL for you on the other side. Welcome back to Fantasy Football Live. Thanks for joining us. Let's get a check of the interweb action with our friends in LA. Matt and Liz, anything good cooking over there?
Yeah, we've had a lot of questions in the chat about one Atlanta Falcons running back, Devonta Freeman. And I know we've brought up Duke Johnson about 1,000 times today, but how about one more time? We had a question from Cold-Blooded 559, very aggressive Twitter handle there. But do you like Duke Johnson or Devonta Freeman more?
Well, I understand that Devonta Freeman has a tough matchup here, but my goodness, I am certainly starting him ahead of Duke Johnson, who is still new to the Houston Texans, who hasn't really been used to his full potential. Some might say Devonta Freeman, according to reports, is better than ever. Dan Quinn loves him. Not that a coach ever hypes up a player right before he's supposed to hit the field, but I mean, I think you're in lockstep with me on this one.
I am in lockstep with you on this one. I really liked Freeman all draft season. He was a guy who was getting consistently in the third round. And, you know, the thing is, of course, tough matchup, but I think the volume actually helps negate that because Ito Smith, not proven. Brian Hill didn't really happen as much in the preseason, or at least didn't climb that depth chart. It's pretty much Freeman's show and no one else here. I'm going Freeman confidently. Now I'm going to throw us one more curveball here. Trader Joey's very much more clever Twitter handle here asks us Eckler or Devonta Freeman in a half-point PPR.
Well, he's going running back shopping. What? I think I am going to still go with Devonta Freeman in this one. I understand that Austin Eckler is supposed to have all of the Melvin Gordon opportunity, but that is a supposed to. We know that Devonta Freeman is the team's RB1, so I'm still going to lean in his way.
Yeah, and I think that I said earlier with the Matt Ryan analysis that I think that this game could actually be a little bit more high-scoring than people think, and I actually think the opposite for that Colts-Chargers game. With so many question marks on both offenses, I think that game is actually going to be a little bit slower. And I want to finish this out with a quarterback question here from YouTube. Baker Mayfield or Cam Newton? Let's also, number one, say you shouldn't be having the two quarterbacks of this status on your roster. You've messed up somewhere, YouTube user, but I think I'm actually going to go with Cam Newton.
Yes, 100%. Also, in this matchup against Tennessee, I think we could see a more efficient Baker Mayfield, more efficient offense leaning on the run. I like Nick Chubb a lot, actually, in this matchup. He's a good DFS play. I think a lot of us probably put him in. So I am in agreement with you. I'm going to go with your quarterback, Cam Newton.
Yes, Cam Newton healthy coming into the year, and
Does he have the best stable of weapons he's ever had in his career? I haven't heard that yet.
Well, I would say, Liz, that this is probably the best offense ever accumulated in the Cam Newton, Ron Rivera era.
No attachment to it, clearly.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Amanda,
just saying
please
this
take
one
it away.
time. Yes,
please
please,
take
God.
It. I can't anymore.
I wonder if Matt likes the Panthers. It's very unclear to me.
I mean, I hear they have an off-again, on-again relationship.
Yeah, I'm
What happened there, Matt?
Looking more and more like a good decision to break up with the Bears.
Thank you, guys.
That's true.
Let's get to our last over-under of the day. We're pretty unsure about what we'll get from Jacoby Brissett. It's safe to assume that no matter what, T.Y. Hilton will be the focal point. But will it be enough to get him over 69.5 receiving yards against the Chargers? Andy, start us off.
Listen, I will concede from the start that obviously this season is not going to look exactly like 2017 did with Jacoby Brissett. It's a better offensive line. It's certainly a better coaching staff. There's a lot to like about Brissett generally and Hilton. I think he's going to be a fine fantasy start, but I'm going to take the under here. I am still scarred by 2017. He delivered all of his yards and all of his fantasy points in like 4 weeks. He had 8 different games in 2017 with 30 receiving yards or less. I just think there's too great a likelihood that he produces a dud for you. I'm going under.
Liz?
I am in agreement with Andy here. I am also going under. Look, there is a lot to be optimistic about for T.Y. Hilton owners. His preseason has looked amazing by all accounts, and that's great considering he didn't take any snaps with Andrew Luck. His rapport with Jacoby Brissett is building on that 2017 season, and Lord, we need it to build because he only averaged 60 yards per game in that effort. However, when I think about the matchup here, I think about not just the secondary, but I also think about the D-line. You got Melvin Ingram, you got Joey Bosa, you got Tillery now, the first-round pick. I mean, Bosa and Ingram combined for, I want to say, 7.5 sacks last year, and that was with Joey Bosa only playing 9 games. I think it's going to freak Brissett out a little bit. I don't know if his connection with Hilton is going to be strong enough out of the gate given the matchup, so I, too, am going under. But, stay optimistic down the road.
Now, originally, this was supposed to be Tank Williams' pick, and Tank blindedly took the under on this one, or blindly. I am going over. That is my selection, but for the sake of our graphics, we're keeping it consistent there with the sweep, but I'm going to play contrarian here because this is a completely different situation. We went from Chuck Pagano to Frank Reich from 2017 to 2019. I think Frank Reich is an offensive genius. This is the top 5 offensive line. I'm not worried about the aggressive pass rush, and I think Jacoby Brissett is going to surprise and shock some people. And I like the matchup as well between T.Y. Hilton and Casey Hayward. Some people might say, well, Casey Hayward only gave up a 57.1 catch percentage a year ago, but he also gave up north of 100 passer rating to his assignments. Hilton's locked in at 25% of the target share. I think he hits 70 yards, and I think he also hits Pater, playing with confidence.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Now, there are a lot of things we care about around here. Each other, the sport of football, puppies even. But Matt and Liz have some things they don't care about as it pertains to the Sunday night Steelers-Patriots matchup.
Yes, this is a new segment this year, and I will admit to having the idea for it because, look, Liz, you and I, we spend a lot of time together.
We do.
We spend a lot of time together on our podcast, the Yahoo Fantasy Football Podcast. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And honestly, we talk a lot about just things that the people in the community out there, some of you fantasy football heads, you obsess about the weirdest things. And number one, the thing I do not care about in this Sunday night football matchup is the Patriots running back tilt. I'm sure it's out there because there's a lot of guys, right? Rex Burkhead's still kicking around. Damian Harris is there. But to me, based on what we saw in the preseason, based on the offseason drumbeat, I think this is a two-headed backfield right now being the optimal word. So in this matchup, I'm starting Sony Michel confidently. I'm not looking if it's a James White or a Sony Michel game. I think when we get this Patriots backfield to 2 guys, we play both of them confidently. And I think right now I'm very confident in Sony Michel as the early down back, and I'm very confident, obviously, in James White as the pass-catching back. Play both of these guys. Don't at me about which guy is it. I'm not tilting about it this week because I just don't care, okay? So, Liz, for this Sunday night football game, what is the thing that you don't care about?
I mean, I don't care about how Juju Smith-Schuster feels about Antonio Brown.
He's going to be in the building now,
Yeah,
though.
I don't care. You know what I do care about? Actual football, and I do care about how much Vance McDonald is going to be used in this matchup. I said it before, this matchup has the 3rd highest projected point total of the entire slate of games for the opening week. So, how are we going to see Vance McDonald used? We know he was used as a slot receiver in college. We know that he's had a lot of offseason hype pieces. I think when you look at the matchup and Stephon Gilmore and Dante Moncrief, that's going to be a tough matchup. I do think that Ben Roethlisberger is going to start to pepper his tight end. We know how he likes to do that, right? So I think, here's my projection, my fearless forecast. Are you ready? 7 grabs for 71 catches for Vance McDonald. He is an easy top 10, top 8 option.
I love it. Now you know how to watch the Sunday night football game and actually what you should care about. It's notable that I just complained about things I don't care about. Liz actually gave you something to care about. I think that says a lot about the two of us. But yeah, now you can watch the game better. You're welcome, people.
You're welcome.
We've got to take one final break here on FFL, but we'll get more of your roster questions next. 2 on our Sunnyvale campus as Fantasy Football Live rolls right along. Thank you for joining us in this glorious first Sunday of real football. There's real football being played today.
There is?
That's exciting.
Because it didn't happen on Thursday.
I gotta say,
But this is the first Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
I am gonna miss
Remember?
this preseason. This has been a magical preseason.
It really has. All the injuries, all the controversy. Some dude named Antonio Brown, very principled fellow, isn't he?
Multiple holdouts.
Never heard of
This was
him.
really fun.
He's a reasonable human being.
You know who's over there who I miss dearly? DJ.
Oh, yeah.
Bebop Rock Steady.
Read it right here.
Sir, do you have a question for our experts?
I do. I have a question. Flex position, PPR, Tevin Coleman or DJ Moore?
See, the PPR element kind of adds an extra twist to this, and it makes it a little bit closer. But again, I'm a matchup advocate, and even though he's in a timeshare with Matt Breida, we've been talking Matt Breida up. I mean, Tevin Coleman is underrated in my estimation. He knows the system. I mean, he was RB17 when Kyle Shanahan was calling the shots in Atlanta back 3 years ago. He's actually been RB22 or better in the last 3 consecutive years. I think he starts off the season on the right foot and goes for at least 60, 65 combined and finds the end zone.
Yeah, we could also see a tough individual matchup for DJ Moore today. There are some corners that we have to worry about in LA. I'm going to go Tevin Coleman as well. Again, you just want as many shares of that offense and that game today as you can possibly get.
I agree.
All right, cool. He's already in there.
Sweet. All right.
Nice.
Winner, winner.
Well, for one last time, we're going to send it back out to Los Angeles, where Liz and Matt are standing by with hopefully some more social goodness for us, guys.
I mean, there's always goodness on social media, of course. And our first question comes in from Juan Mario, hashtag AskFFL for week 1. Good that we're on topic. I appreciate that. Robbie Anderson or Dante Moncrief. Gotta say, I don't really like either of these options, Liz.
No, but speaking of social goodness, if you follow me on Instagram at LizLoza_FF, then you already know I do a Friday forecast series, and Robbie Anderson was my bust this week because not only does he have a tough matchup against Tre'Davious White, but he is also entering this week's game with a calf injury. He is going to play, but he is not 100%. Now, I don't like Dante Moncrief's matchup either. However, I will take the healthier player over the injured one, so give me Moncrief.
I'm feeling a little risky this morning. I'm going to say Robbie Anderson. I know it's a tough matchup, but I actually do think that Jets-Bills game could be really interesting from a fantasy perspective.
It is also worth noting that Robbie Anderson did manage a touchdown against Tre'Davious White last season, only 1 of 3 that White gave up in the entirety of 2018. Still, Moncrief, don't listen to him.
Liz, you are on top of things. Anthony asks us for our second question, hashtag AskFFL. 1 point PPR, Josh Jacobs or Marlon Mack. Both running backs, I always say you should attach your running backs to good offenses. Both of these offenses saw some major pieces be taken away in the preseason. I think I'm going to go with Marlon Mack, though, in this spot. Both these guys should be feature backs, but Mack is the clear dominating guy in his backfield, and I like that matchup just a little bit better.
And I agree with you 100%. Also, we saw Marlon Mack start to get more targets in the receiving game as the year wore on last year, so hopefully that'll help buoy him and he'll be able to build on that momentum coming into this year, too.
No doubt. That's all from us. But remember, hashtag AskFFL on Twitter. Scott Pianowski is still taking your super important fantasy questions right up to kickoff.
Good stuff, guys. The phone lines are buzzing, so let's get to some questions. We'll start with Hugh in Nevada. Good morning. What's your question, Hugh?
Good morning, gurus. I've got a full PPR flex, Dante Moncrief, Peyton Barber, Latavius Murray, or John Brown.
Well, for me, I don't know about for you, I want to be in a game in which the over-under total is in the low 50s. And Latavius Murray, he runs like a telephone pole with feet. He's rather upright. You trying to picture that? Yeah, I mean, he's up and down. He's north-south. But I could see him tripping and falling into the end zone with maybe 50 yards, and that's good enough out of this.
I agree with that call. I think he gets something very close to the full Mark Ingram workload from last season. I can imagine both of these teams topping 30 points in this one. Really good chance that Murray finds the end zone. That's my call.
Okay, cool. We're
awesome.
Lockstep.
Thank you so much. Next, we'll go to Brian in Chicago. Good morning, Brian. What's your question?
Good morning, everyone. Got a flex question in a half-point PPR. Duke Johnson, James White, or Latavius Murray?
Well, we just talked up Latavius, but are you going to go Duke or White?
Oh, this is so close.
It's really close for me.
I'm gonna go James White here. Yeah. You've got this one opportunity without Antonio Brown. I think there's a good chance he catches 7-8 balls in this one. Really good chance of finding the end zone as well. It's very close. I like all of these options.
Yeah, look, this is not your older brother's Pittsburgh Steelers defense. It's more of a soft and a steel curtain, and I think New England's going to put that on display tonight. And I think James White is going to be a centerpiece in this offense. You know, you mentioned he's a guy that has the trusted TB12. He saw 7.7 targets per game last year. I don't see that diminishing week 1. It will as the season progresses with Antonio Brown.
We're just name dropping the TB12 brand on the show. Is that what we do?
Hey, he pays me an avocado ice cream, Andy.
Oh, goodness. Well, one person who I doubt is eating avocado ice cream in Cleveland at these Browns tailgates is Tank. So let's check in one last time with our friend. What's going on in the dog pound, sir?
Well, I'm telling you, if Baker Mayfield woke up feeling dangerous, the rest of these Browns fans woke up feeling nervous because there's a lot of anxiety on how these Brownies are going to play. But I'll be lying if I didn't say that. What I'm looking forward most to this weekend is AB on the sideline in New England riding that social media wave, because I'm telling you, he played us all for boo-boo the fool, but he gonna mess around and get a ring in New England with Tommy Boy and Bill Belichick. Now that's some stuff with some stuff on it, but I'm about to go into this game, give me a dog, and with the dog pound. I'll catch y'all next week. Holla!
What did he say? Boo-boo the fool?
Boo-boo the fool.
I think he called me boo-boo. Is that what happened?
Yeah, yours boo.
That's really good. Well, I don't know how you guys are going to follow that, but we do want to check in with Liz and Matt to see what is one thing each of you guys will be watching today.
Yeah, how timely. I wrote a piece about this on Friday, the things I'm most looking forward to, kind of the big reveal of. And I think one of them, we haven't really talked about this game much, and for one of the teams, it's understandable. Miles Sanders, though, in the Eagles' backfield, I want to see, is he the closer for this team? You know, Jordan Howard kind of played that role for the Chicago Bears in years past, but I really think Sanders is the guy to own in this backfield. And if he emerges in week 1, I mean, look, that's going to change fantasy league because he's an exciting runner in a great offense, and I think he has a 3-down skill set. So if he emerges in week 1, this is a guy we're going to be talking about as a player you start every single week.
Oh, Matt, I love that you gave our viewers cogent season-long analysis. I'm just going to say I am excited for the Kansas City at Jacksonville tilt because I am all about Chris Connolly unleashing that big Nick energy in his revenge game, baby.
I mean, it's a double revenge game. Foles played for the Chiefs, too.
That's right. Hook it up.
Brad, are you excited?
Not for Chris Connolly, I can tell you that much.
Chris Connolly.
I cannot top. Should we talk Trey Quinn or one of the Washington wide receivers? It's about the same category. For me, I'm really curious to see what kind of workload Justin Jackson gets. We've been talking about Austin Eckler. You know, Eckler, a lot of people are projecting to have a 2-to-1 ratio in terms of overall touches over Jackson. But I think Justin Jackson is going to be the primary goal line back for the LA Chargers. They do have some offensive line concerns. There's no doubt about that. But I think this is an exploitable Indianapolis Colts front line, a little bit undersized. So if they get in a goal-to-go situation, I want to see the Northwestern product get the ball in his gut. And if he does, he could be the back to own moving forward until Melvin Gordon hopefully returns. Come back, Melvin. I need you. Come back.
A few more weeks is what they're saying.
I don't think that wooed him. For me, the big story is the reveal of the Arizona offense, right?
I mean,
that is just absolutely huge. What is this going to look like? It's a new head coach. It's a new quarterback. Can the offensive line block anything? Who's going to be the number 1 receiver, number 2 receiver? This is the biggest fantasy storyline for me in a dog of a game in real life, really. But man, if it doesn't work this week, the schedule gets really tough in a hurry. It's Baltimore, it's Carolina, so let's hope we see something positive from Kyler.
Well, guys, that'll do it for our very first Fantasy Football Live of the season. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Don't forget, you can catch us each and every Sunday morning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, right here on Yahoo Sports. We'll catch you next week. Good luck in week 1.
Get the W, fools!